Sorry my friends, I'm having camera troubles. This had better be episode 7. Gus was explaining that if there'd been justice, the young couple would have survived, not him. No, Gus. Belle managed to smile through her tears. If there was justice, maybe everybody would have survived. I'm glad you did. But what happened? Why us? How did I get to be here? It's all very random, Belle. He drew his fingers through the 2 days of growth on his face. The plane hit the upper branches and came through the tree trunks below. It broke up. When we stopped moving, my seat was still attached to your seat through the floor of the aircraft. I could smell aviation fuel. I knew that wasn't good. Duncan was not breathing, but I could see that you were. You were still breathing. Somehow I got you down. It was adrenaline, really. I struggled with you for a while and stumbled. There was an explosion, and I think if there were any survivors at that front part of the plane, I'm afraid the explosion wrecked much in that direction. Belle looked Gus in the face. You rescued me. You saved my life. Well, as I say, it was adrenaline, really. Gus, you're not a young man. You struggled to get me to safety. Bless you and thank you. Please, I did nothing. How is your head? It is sore. Can I have a look? Yes, please. He removed the dressing he placed there earlier. There was a nasty cut. If only he had something antiseptic. The flies were busy around Belinda's head. Gus found something from one of the suitcases to bandage it again. A white clean towel. Searching through cases of people who had not survived, he managed to find some whiskey too. Warning Belinda that it might sting, but was antiseptic, he bathed her head with the water, then dried it, then cleaned the wound with the fluid, and rebandaged it with the strips of the towel. He was impressed by the brave way his young patient accepted his efforts to care for the wound, while she, on the other hand, was touched by the gentle way those big hands gently worked around her head. He's really making sure that this hurts no more than it has to, she thought. Gus now had tea ready, and biscuits and chocolate. Belle gave him a smile of appreciation. She was thinking of how much of a nightmare it could be for a young woman to be alone, lost in the rainforest, with a man. Yet Gus made her feel safe and comfortable. Thank you, Gus, for caring for my wound. I am so much in your debt. No, Belinda, I am in your debt. If you'd not been alive on the plane, maybe I would have just lost heart, stayed where I was, waited to die. Your beating heart gave me a reason to keep mine beating. Belinda, you are the generation of hope. You are to be preserved at all costs. I have a purpose to help you survive. He spoke gently and was looking straight into her eyes. The perfect English still had a slight German accent that hardened some of the vowel sounds. Yet a strongly benevolent attitude came through to her as he spoke. Well, much of my purpose in life seemed to crash with the plane. Duncan, Her words died and the tears flowed again. This time, Gustav did not hesitate. He put his arms around her and drew her close to his chest. She in turn put her arms around him and cried long and freely. It was what she needed to do. His white shirt, already dirty and stained, got wet from her tears. He spoke gently. One day when you are well, and you can face it, Belinda, I will take you to Duncan's grave. You must remember what he said. He will always love you. It was true that no matter what happened to Belle in the days and years of her life ahead, she never would forget the last words that Scott had said to her. He so wanted to be married to her. Whoever else came and went through her life, Duncan would always have a claim to her heart. Anyone else who ever placed his flag there would be like the second or third person to climb Everest, welcome and appreciated, but Duncan's flag would always be the one in the highest position. Among the bags that Gus had managed to recover from the crash scene were many useful items. Not least among these was the 3 bags of camping equipment he'd gathered up. He had chosen on the third day a more suitable spot, a clearing on the ground that was drier and a slightly higher place and very near to their original location. But he did wonder about the pathway that led there. Was it just a track made by animals, or was there more to it than that? Were there humans in this dense part of the forest? At this new location, Gus set up 2 small tents, and with some help from the much recovered Belle, he transported all that they had to the new place. He pointed her to the larger tent, and when she protested, saying that he was a larger man, he joked about women always needing more room for their clothes, and he insisted that she make the larger tent hers. He had the 2 tents close together and explained that whilst he would give Belle all her privacy, it was much safer if they were close, and in any event of any danger, any time at all, he was to be woken up at once. He also visited the wreckage of the plane a few more times and told Belle there was no way that she was to have the horror of that sight in her mind. He gathered up anything he thought that they could use to make life more civilised and safer and easier. The smell of death, though, was unbearable now, and he hoped he could avoid taking more trips to the direction of the crashed wreckage. He was close to vomiting when he found evidence that the birds and the animals had been eating the flesh from the carcasses. The macabre scene brought back memories from the 30s and 40s Gus would have preferred to forget. However, his foraging in handbags, wallets, hand luggage and cases meant were they rescued, he would have some identification of some of the people. Also, they would have changes of clothes for them both and useful items like knives, forks, spoons, plates. Yes, unbelievably, he was able to salvage some unbroken crockery. Also, he collected matches, cigarette lighters, various foodstuffs and some bottles of whiskey, and to his delight some gin, which he found in one case. It was strange to him that some metal objects were broken to fragments in the impact of the plane upon the forest, yet others of glass and plastic were intact. He realised, of course, that the same applied to the human occupants on the aircraft. Most were broken and badly damaged, unrepairable, yet he and Belinda had survived with scratches, cuts and a few bruises. No explanation was apparent, but the need to gather everything for survival that was there was clearly the need. As Belle tended the fire and Gus poured himself a gin and Bella whiskey that evening, they enjoyed the first of many chats that would go late into the evening. Among the camping equipment, Gus had found some mosquito netting, and besides using it in their sleeping quarters, they built an area near the tents where they could sit, protected from these creatures. After being bitten by ants and probably other creatures, it was Belle who'd remembered the dangers of the mosquitoes and the malaria it carried. She was even able to tell Gus the most likely species. He tried to repeat it. Was it Anopheles darlings? Over the week, they would find that the combination of Belle's science and Gus's understanding of survival tactics were going to be useful. In this strange environment to both of them, they would need to help each other. Northern Europe was as different from their new location as land was from sea. As they sat there that third evening enjoying a strong drink, Gus was as calm as he would have been enjoying a glass of gin in a North of England public house, but Belle was more concerned about their situation. "So Gus, we don't know where we are." "No, Belle, we do not." "Well, except we're in the Amazon region, I imagine, and presumably in Brazil. By the feel of the place, I'd imagine we're in a tropical area not too far from the equator. Do you think we'll ever be rescued?" The hazel eyes glistened in the firelight. "Tell me what you really think, Gus." "What I really think is this. If we've heard nothing for 3 days, the search and rescue services have no clue to our whereabouts. I guess that looking for us amid this green maze is harder than looking for a rowing boat in the Atlantic. No doubt there have been searches, but I do not know what's visible from above the tree canopy. Also, the trees are closing the gap again made by our descent. Maybe a keen-eyed searcher in a chopper might see a gap where the plane went, well, most of it is, where it came to rest. The explosion, it burned some of the vegetation up there, but I've not heard any sound of an aircraft since our arrival. Do you think we're near any populated areas?" "I don't know, Belle, nothing's certain. You know more about the Amazon than I do." "So probably nobody knows where we are, and they may have given up looking." "I should think they're still searching, but I do not think they know where we are. The pilot no doubt gave them all the information that he could, but we travelled a terrific distance between the original emergency and our crash, and we were thousands of feet up and travelling at high speed. So our situation could be hopeless." "No, Belle, we have life. What do you folks say? Where there is life, there is hope, the young lady responded, but her face didn't look hopeful, but rather disconsolate. Gus didn't know what to say, so he changed the subject. What about the head? Is it sore now? Not too bad, much better. She sipped her whiskey. She'd rarely drunken spirits, but but there was something suitable about the strong taste in her mouth, something comforting. You know, Gus, life is so full of irony. Originally we were going to go eagle watching in Scotland, and then the opportunity of a lifetime was offered, and it seems to have cost us everything. That's the end of episode 7. There'll be more to come. Thank you so much for even taking the time to listen, and I hope that at least some of you are enjoying it. It's really great to share these things with all you guys, all you good friends. Kate joins me, sending love to everybody. Thank you. Bye bye.